Hey there! You might know Barack Feber in Spanish. Our channel has over 400,000 subscribers. Well, this is the official English version. Same content, same passion. Now in your language. But we need your help to grow. Hit that subscribe button and join us on this new journey. Now, let's get back to the video. In 2007, David Beckham decided to leave Real Madrid for LA Galaxy. The glamour of Hollywood, living in Beverly Hills, and earning more money than ever were reasons strong enough. But to truly convince him, MLS made him an offer he couldn't refuse. A long-term plan. Once he retired from football, Beckham had the option to acquire a new franchise in the North American League at a symbolic price, just $25 million. The English midfielder retired in 2013, and the following year he took them up on the offer. He exercised that juicy clause on his contract and became owner and president of a brand new team. After delays in stadium construction, Inter Miami finally made its MLS debut in 2020. Their first marquee signing was Mexican midfielder Rodolfo Pizarro. Then came Gonzalo Higuaín, and starting in 2023, Lionel Messi arrived with his entire entourage. In Beckham's first season, Inter Miami finished 19th in MLS. In their second year they did slightly worse. In the third season, 2022, Inter Miami placed 12th in the league. In 2023, they dropped all the way to 27th place, and in 2024, bada-bing bada-boom, first place. Although they were eliminated early in the playoffs. But Beckham's team isn't built to win titles, it's built to make money, and it does that very well. Inter Miami is currently the 16th most valuable football club on the planet, ranking above the original Internazionale Milano. His name is Philip Anschutz, and he owns the LA Galaxy, along with thousands of other businesses. He was the main reason Beckham ended up playing in MLS, and he repeated the formula with Zlatan Ibrahimović 5 years later after the Englishman left. He didn't offer him a team in MLS, but he did give him one in his native Sweden, Hammarby, one of Anschutz's many properties around the globe. Zlatan started for the Galaxy for just one season, and as support of the deal, his boss offered him 50% ownership in the Swedish club. Unlike Beckham, Ibra didn't have to retire. He played for AC Milan while also being part owner of Hammarby. That didn't sit well with the ultras of his boyhood club Malmö, who have since made it a hobby to vandalize his statue outside the stadium. So, how has Hammarby done since Zlatan became co-owner? Here you go. 8th place in 2020, 5th in 2021, 3rd in 2022, 7th in 2023, runners-up in 2024, and halfway through the current Swedish league season, Hammarby sits in 2nd place, chasing their first league title since 2001. The man who was Zlatan's other half at FC Barcelona also bought the club in 2019, while still being an active player. Back then, Gerard Piqué was playing for Barcelona, running the Davis Cup, boss of the shady operation that moved the Spanish Super Cup to Saudi Arabia, Shakira's husband, Clara's lover, advisor to Josep Maria Bartomeu, and still had time to become owner of FC Andorra, declaring his dream was to take the club to the Champions League. Since then, Andorra's ride has been an emotional roller coaster. In 2022, they earned their first ever promotion to Spain's 2nd division. In 2023, they nearly made the promotion playoffs to La Liga. In 2024, they completely collapsed and brought back to the 3rd tier. And in 2025, they earned promotion once again to the second tier. Inter Miami isn't Beckham's only team. Since 2025, he joined forces with Gary Neville as co-owner of Salford City, a 4th division English club that Neville had acquired back in 2014, along with Peter Lim, the owner and Antichrist of Valencia. Until Beckham showed up, Salford City was co-owned by his former Manchester United teammates, the illustrious Paul Scholes and Ryan Giggs, and the not-so-illustrious Nicky Butt and Phil Neville. All of them sold their shares last month. When they first bought the club 11 years ago, Salford was in the 6th tier. Since then, they've earned a couple of promotions. Last season, they almost made it to the 3rd tier and had their best FA Cup run ever. But Beckham and Neville's plan with this new structure is to finally take Salford City to the next level. It's already been 10 years since Paolo Maldini became the owner of Miami's other club, Miami FC. While Beckham was still dragging his feet, Maldini launched his team quietly and modestly in the USL. Ronaldo retired from football in 2011 and spent the next 7 years living off his image. He opened a marketing agency, documented his weight loss in a reality show, rented out his name to promote the 2014 World Cup in Brazil, and lived the wild life he loves. In 2016, he moved to Madrid to take a sports management course that will prepare him to run a small club with growth potential. And so, in September 2018, Ronaldo ended up at Real Valladolid, a club he had no connection other than playing against them 6 times and scoring them 6 goals. The Brazilian bought 51% of the club's shares for 30 million euros and began a new phase of his football career, one far less glorious than the one on the pitch. In Ronaldo's first season in charge, Valladolid barely avoided relegation. His second year as owner and president was amazing, by Valladolid standards, a 13th place finish, their best result in 18 years. Things were looking good, until the 3rd year, when everything collapsed. Valladolid was relegated in 2021, promoted in 2022, relegated again in 2023, promoted again in 2024, and once more relegated in 2025. That's 3 relegations under Ronaldo's watch, a tenure defined by selling high and spending as little as possible to strengthen the squad. Fans were fed up, longing for the day Ronaldo would leave the José Zorrilla Stadium, and they got their wish last week, when, after becoming public enemy number 1 in the city, Ronaldo finally sold the club 7 years after buying it. He lasted even less time as owner of Cruzeiro, the club where he made his debut as a player and which he saved from bankruptcy in 2022 by investing $78 million, only to sell his shares 2 years later for $117 million. In 2023, N'Golo Kanté moved to Saudi Arabia, signing a 4-year deal worth 100 million euros. What's curious is that Kanté has never been into luxury cars or lavish lifestyles, so someone combines him to invest part of that money in a 3rd division Belgian club, Excelsior Virton. 2 seasons later, Kanté's Virton still hasn't earned promotion to the 2nd division. Another player who doesn't know what to do with all his Saudi money is Sadio Mané, who also bought a football team a couple of years ago. In his case, it was Bourges in France 4th tier. So far, Mané hasn't managed to promote them to the 3rd division. Marcelo Salas was born in Temuco. He became a legend with Universidad de Chile, River Plate and Lazio. After his success in Europe, he returned to play for both of his boyhood clubs, but never got to play for his hometown team. However, the first thing the Matador did after retiring in 2008 was buying Temuco, a club he led to relegation in 2019 and hasn't been able to return to Chile's top division since. Young Kylian Mbappé took his first steps wearing the Caen jersey. He finished developing at Monaco and returned to his native Paris to play for PSG. But Mbappé didn't buy any of those clubs. He bought Caen, simply because he thought it was a good business opportunity to invest 20 million euros in a second division French team. Caen had finished among the top 7 in the 3 previous seasons. All they needed was a bit of media attention to climb back to Ligue 1. But the opposite happened. Mbappé bought 80% of the club's shares last summer. People quickly questioned how he could juggle playing for Real Madrid and being the top executive of a club in another city, in another country. Banners reading, "Mbappé, this team is not your toy," soon appeared in Caen's stands. Far from being promoted to Ligue 1, they finished dead last and were relegated to the 3rd division in Mbappé's first year in charge. Vinícius Jr didn't want to be outdone by Mbappé in any way, and as always, he dove in head first, this time literally, when in February 2025 he and a group of investors acquired 75% of the shares of the Futebol Clube de Alverca, a Portuguese second division side, for around 8 million euros. The financial speculation trend among the world's richest footballers paid off handsomely for the Brazilian, as just 3 months later, Alverca was promoted to the first division for the first time in 22 years. This Indonesian man is Michael Artono, and today he woke up ranked 106th richest person in the world. This other man is Robert Artono, Michael's brother and even richer, ranked 96th on the Forbes list. Together, they own an empire called the Arum, originally focused on making disgusting cigarettes. Today, it's a conglomerate that includes, beyond tobacco, banks, restaurant chains, fast food, supermarkets, electric cars, hotels, streaming services, Blibli, the Amazon of Indonesia, and finally Como, the Italian club they acquired in 2019. Como has owners richer than the other 19 Serie A club owners combined. The Artono brothers handed the project keys to former Chelsea captain Dennis Wise, who quickly earned promotion to Serie B. He then convinced Cesc Fàbregas to join the club as a player, offering him shares in return. Later, Wise brought in Thierry Henry as advisor in exchange for another share package. The Frenchman isn't involved in the club's daily operations. He simply watches his investment grow with the project's success. Cesc Fàbregas, on the other hand, went all in. In addition to being a player and a shareholder, he soon became head coach. He led the team to a promotion to Serie A, and once there, avoided relegation with a progressive, modern playing style that turned heads. Fàbregas did so well that Inter Milan chose him to replace Simone Inzaghi. But now, Cesc at Como is much more than just a coach. Even if his shares are minority, he remains one of the club's owners. Forest Green Rovers is a vegan, eco-friendly team that was in England's 4th tier when, in 2020, Héctor Bellerín, then an Arsenal player, became the club's 2nd largest shareholder by acquiring 2% of the team. Since then, The club's gone completely green, seemed terrible. They're now in the 5th division. On April 14, 2025, Swansea, currently in the English second tier, announced Luka Modric as a new investor and co-owner. The Croatian is believed to have bought 5% of the Welsh club, which last played in the Premier League in 2018. Phoenix Rising is a USL team that has unsuccessfully tried to become an MLS franchise. Didier Drogba ended his career in the 2nd division of US soccer, a division that doesn't even reward its champion with promotion, simply because money talks. In his case, they offer him club shares. It's unknown how much of Phoenix Rising belongs to the Ivorian legend, but he's one of the 18 shareholders. In Argentina, clubs don't have owners. They have presidents elected by club members, and it's becoming increasingly common for those presidents to be former players. Take the current examples: Diego Milito at Racing Club, Juan Sebastián Verón at Estudiantes de La Plata, and the worst of all, Juan Román Riquelme at Boca Juniors.